You tell your husband that it is time for a shower. He says, "I've already had one." You know he did not. You remind him that it has been several days. He becomes defensive. You explain that he needs to be clean. He tells you to leave him alone. So you try again later. This time, you lay out the towels and turn on the water before asking. But when he realizes what you're doing, he becomes angry. Now you're standing outside the bathroom trying to decide whether to push harder, wait for tomorrow, offer a reward, distract him, argue with him, or just give up. You do not want to shame him. You do not want to force him, but you can also not allow his hygiene to keep declining. And at the same time, this question keeps circling. He will not shower, and I don't know whether to push, wait, argue, or just give up. In today's episode, we will clarify whether the shower itself is the real outcome you're responsible for, what the battle of the bathing might be revealing about his present capacity, the difference between getting him into the shower and getting him clean, why the right response depends on the actual person in their actual care situation. Hey, Christian Care Companion. Welcome to Dementia Caregiver Support for Christians. I am Lizette Klute, recovering healthcare provider, pastor's wife, and your direct access caregiver advisor. This is the place where we help you see what is changing in your caregiving, recognize what responsibility might now be yours, and determine when your care situation needs a closer interpretation. You are not hesitating because cleanliness doesn't matter to you. You are trying to protect his cleanliness, dignity, and peace. You do not want your husband to develop skin problems, to smell bad, to be uncomfortable, or an infection because his hygiene is no longer being maintained. But you also don't want bathing to become a repeated scene of fear, humiliation, or force. You remember when he managed all of this by himself. He decided when to shower. He chose the water temperature. He washed, dried, dressed, and returned to the rest of his day. The routine may still look the same from the outside. The bathroom is the same. The shower is the same. The towels and the soap are still there, but he is no longer responding to the routine in the same way. He might not believe that he needs a shower. He may not remember when he last took a shower. He may not understand why you are directing him to the bathroom. He may be unable to organize the steps of bathing once he gets there. Or he may experience your help as an invasion because he doesn't understand why it is needed. You might still be getting some bathing completed, but it now happens because you remind, you prepare, you persuade, you supervise, and you manage his resistance. The routine still exists, but it now depends on you carrying it more than before. You have not ignored this problem. You have adjusted the timing. You have prepared the bathroom. You have explained the need, and you have tried again. Your effort may still get him through a shower occasionally, but your effort is no longer settling the larger question. What does this refusal reveal about what he can presently understand, tolerate, and do? And what are you actually responsible for accomplishing now? On the surface, this still looks like a shower problem. So you keep asking, how do I get him into the shower? You try to explain it more clearly, maybe wait for a better time. You may become firmer. You may ask, if he's in a facility, for somebody else to give it a try. You keep adjusting your approach because the shower appears to be the task that has to be completed. But getting him into the shower is not the same as getting him clean. The shower is a method. Cleanliness is the outcome. Those two things used to appear identical because showering was ordinary and reliable, and the way he became clean. Before, when he needed to be clean, he took a shower. The method and the outcome were the same. Now, the familiar method may no longer fit his present ability. He might be afraid of the water. He may no longer understand the sequence of bathing. He might become cold easily. The sound, the touch, the movement, the loss of privacy might be overwhelming him, or the amount of help required may now exceed what you can safely provide your husband in that bathroom. None of this makes cleanliness optional. It means that you may have to try to protect the right outcome while remaining fixed on a method that is no longer working reliably. The question you may be asking is, how do I get him into the shower? But the question underneath that might actually now be, what level of cleanliness is actually required, and what way of reaching that cleanliness fits his present ability? That is a different question. And it does not assume that a full shower is the only faithful answer. It also does not assume that because he refuses the shower, that nothing more is required. It asks what outcome must still be protected. It asks what can he presently tolerate and participate in. And it asks what can be carried out safely and with as much dignity as is realistic. And underneath that question, you are trying to answer it as a Christian caregiver. What does faithfulness require with this person in this situation right now? Faithfulness is not measured by whether you successfully reproduce an old routine of taking a shower every day. It is measured by whether you see the present reality and respond appropriately to it. A general dementia care answer may tell you to try a different time of day. Another person might recommend music, a handheld shower, a different caregiver, or a different technique. Those suggestions may be useful in some situations, but the answer might also depend on his present ability, the actual hygiene needed, and what you can safely carry out. A nurse might identify that he has a skin problem that makes cleaning more urgent. An occupational therapist might identify the difficulty with balance or sequencing or how the bathroom looks. The physician may help determine whether there's pain or an infection or another medical issue contributing to his refusal. Each one of these professionals may be answering one part of the situation, but you, dear Christian care companion, are still the one carrying the whole care responsibility and trying to determine what outcome is required and what methods are realistic now. Two caregivers may both say, he refuses to take a shower. In one situation, the person can still bathe independently, but hates being reminded and wants more control over when. In another, the person cannot understand the sequence or is becoming frightened by the water and cannot safely stand or transfer without help. The visible problem sounds like it's the same. The care situations are not the same. The first situation may involve preference, timing, or the relationship between the caregiver and the person. The second may involve their capacity or ability, the safety, their dependency level, and a need to change the method entirely. This makes a difference. You cannot determine your response merely from these words. He refuses to shower. You need to know what cleanliness now requires, what he can do, what he cannot do reliably, what assistance is available, and what risks are present. This is no longer a question about getting him into the shower. It may be a question about your whole care situation that requires interpretation. My recommendation is that we start looking at this and stop treating another technique as the next answer. Before another method is chosen, your situation might need to be interpreted. What does it mean relating to cleanliness right now? What can he participate in? What functional or safety fact do we first need to clarify? You may feel as though you must either force a full shower or allow his cleanliness and hygiene to collapse. But these are not your only two choices. You don't have to treat a full shower as the only acceptable outcome, and you do not have to treat his refusal of the shower as permission to stop addressing his cleanliness. Your situation may first need to be clarified. The outcome may still be required even when the familiar method is no longer realistic. That means your next question might not be, how hard should I push? It may be, what am I actually responsible for accomplishing here? You do not have to solve every future bathing problem today, but you may need to stop measuring bathing success only by whether or not he gets in the shower. So, for now, write down the method you keep trying to make work. Is it a full shower in the bathroom? Then after that, write down what is our actual required outcome. He needs to be sufficiently clean for his comfort, his dignity, to protect his skin and his health. Now ask yourself, is the method I keep insisting on still a realistic way to reach the required outcome in this particular situation? Don't turn this into a list of alternative bathing techniques. Don't try to redesign the entire way of providing care from this one question. The purpose is to notice whether we have confused a familiar method with the actual responsibility and the outcome we want. The shower may have been the right method before. That does not mean it has to remain the only method now. Caregivers frequently bring me the visible problem, the problem that sounds like he refuses to shower or she becomes angry as soon as I say it's time to take a bath, or the facility tells me she won't cooperate. The visible problem is important, but it may not be the only decision that we have to order in your exact situation. That is where direct access caregiver advising becomes different from another bathing tip. An advisor knows the history of your actual situation and can help you interpret what this refusal means, what cleanliness is now required, what is capacity will allow, what is safe, what is realistic, and then help you to order your next faithful step without forcing you to decide every future question today. The purpose here is not to make bathing more complicated. The purpose is to determine what your situation is requiring. Techniques are good, and techniques can only help when they're applied to your real person with their real capacity and your real restraints and your required outcome. Faithfulness does not require you to preserve a familiar routine after that routine has stopped working. It also does not allow you to ignore hygiene because the usual method produces resistance. Paul prays in Philippians 1, verse 9 through 10, that Christian love would abound with knowledge and all discernment, so that believers may approve what is excellent. Love is not only a good intention. Love must see accurately. It must distinguish the required outcome from a method that may not serve the outcome anymore. You're not required to control every reaction or to make everything easier, but we are required to take the actual needs seriously, act within our constraints and our limits, and seek a way of meeting this person's need so that you can care for them with dignity and respect. Seeking to interpret your situation does not mean that you surrender your responsibility. It means that you're taking it seriously. If this is the kind of situation that you are currently carrying, where bathing is starting to become a battle and you cannot determine what outcome is required of you or what method remains realistic in your specific situation, go to dignicarebydesign.com/start, where you can complete a quick assessment called "What Does Your Caregiving Situation Require Next?" I want you to answer from the actual situation that you're carrying right now. You do not have to make an entire decision before you begin. Again, go to dignicarebydesign.com/start and do your quick assessment. What does your caregiving situation require next? And as I end all my episodes, may the Lord bless you and keep you, and I will see you in our next episode.